Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. This video is for the 2024 new moon in Cancer, which will be on the 5th of July. If you're a returning viewer, it's lovely to have you back. I normally channel when I write, and this slideshow format allows me to present content on YouTube. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you will enjoy this video and find it helpful. So in terms of the format for this video, I tend to start with a look at the astrology for the new moon, and then I look at the tarot spread that shows up in relation to the new moon. I like to get these readings out a few days early so people can have an idea of the energies to expect before the actual event. Now, if you're more of a tarot person, you can skip the astrology section if you like. I personally find that the astrology and the tarot do tend to connect with each other, but don't feel you have to listen to the astrology part if you're not interested in that. There will be timestamps for the different sections in the description box. Right, this here is the new moon chart, and I normally just highlight and discuss everything that I see as significant. But as you can see today, I'm seeing a lot of things as significant. I'll do my best to work through it in a way that is still cohesive, but if it's starting to make your head spin, you can just stop watching this section and skip to the next one. But before you do that, just take a quick look at a quick glance just at the right-hand side of this slide, because that's where I decided to list all the aspects I was seeing, and then I thought I would just highlight them in yellow if they were favorable aspects, and in blue if they were challenging aspects. So that has created a little bit of a map, and I think it makes it fairly clear that overall this is a really positive chart. So if you would like to skip the section now, this is a good time to do it. Because I'm now just going to go into the specifics that relate to this new moon. In a new moon, the sun and the moon are conjunct, and in this chart they are conjunct at 14 degrees of Cancer. I've highlighted that in purple. The aspects that I see for the new moon itself are a trine to Saturn in Pisces and a sextile to Mars in Taurus. And there's also a square to the nodal axis. Even though both Saturn and Mars are considered malefic planets, which means they can bring challenges, the aspects here are actually favourable because trines and sextiles are supportive aspects. I would say that means that here at this new moon we're actually benefiting from the strengths of these planets. Saturn is about structure and order, and Mars is about purposeful action. As new moons are a time to focus on intentions for what you'd like to manifest, these planetary aspects are going to mean that we can work on these manifestations very intentionally. The square to the nodal axis is what is challenging at this new moon. The nodal axis relates to the soul's journey in this lifetime, and I suppose that if that's the challenge, the message is that whatever you're trying to manifest here has to factor in the direction that your soul is meant to be traveling in. The North Node is currently in Aries, and that's the energy we're meant to be in. The North Node in Aries means that we have to prioritize the journey that we're desiring to have. That means we're choosing the future that we want. Considering what other people want and what would make other people happy, those are Libra attributes. And Libra, unfortunately, is where the South Node is currently. That means that we're meant to be turning our back on those sorts of considerations. Aries is the sign of the Emperor in Tarot, and the North Node in Aries is about honouring your own sovereignty. Now, as I said, this is the energy we're meant to be in, but we have to actually look at our natal North and South Nodes to know which area of life this will play out in for us. It's very easy to get a free birth chart done online as long as you know the place, date and time of your birth. If you get one of these done, you will see where the North and South Nodes are for you, what sign they're in, what signs they're in, and what houses they're in. The houses will indicate the areas of life where you need to be prioritizing yourself. That's the house your North Node is in, and the areas of life where you need to be ditching any people-pleasing tendencies that you have, and that would be the house where the South Node is. And I'm obviously just talking about this current Aries Libra North Node axis. As an example, my North Node is in the 10th house of career and vocation, and my South Node is in my 4th house, which relates to home and family. That means that while the North Node is in Aries, I have to become very focused on my work and doing things on my terms in that domain. and I have to stop worrying so much about what impact that will have on my family. That sounds harsh, doesn't it? But this is the transit that we're in right now. The nodal transits, though, are only about 18 months in duration, so it's not a forever energy. It's just what's going on right now. The nodes always retrograde through the astrology chart, so our next nodal axis is actually going to be the North Node in Pisces with the South Node in Virgo. And when we move into that transit, I imagine we'll have to become softer and more fluid, because Pisces is boundaryless, like the ocean, and Virgo is about being organized and structured. In that transit, we're going to have to start going with the flow and turning our backs on always doing things a certain way. Anyway, that's in the future, so I'd better get back to what we're dealing with now. Work out where your north and south nodes are, and you will probably realize that you have been feeling internal pressure to change things in these areas of your life. Well, here at this new moon, be sure to set intentions that relate to the things you would like to change in relation to your soul's journey. I've highlighted that Saturn in Pisces in blue. It's at about 9:30 on this chart, and the Mars in Taurus is highlighted in the same shade of blue at about 7:30 on this chart. The nodal axis is shown in yellow as a band running from about 2:30 on the chart to 8:30 on the chart. Saturn is in Pisces, and it went retrograde on the 29th of June. And actually, Neptune has also gone retrograde in Pisces, and that happened on the 2nd of July. That is interesting because they are the two planets in Pisces. They're both slower moving outer planets, and they've both gone retrograde within a few days of each other, and just before this new moon. So I'm thinking it might also be worth checking the house or houses in your chart that relate to Pisces, and in particular, the last 2/3 of Pisces, because that's where these retrograde energies will be operating. Getting back to Saturn, at the time of this new moon, it is in favourable aspects with both Mars and Venus, which are personal planets that I would see as representing the masculine and feminine energies within us. It is in a sextile with Mars in Taurus and in a trine with Venus in Cancer. And with that arrangement, Mars and Venus are also in a sextile with each other. I have highlighted these planets in blue as well, so you can see all of these aspects clearly. Venus is at 5 o'clock on the chart near the new moon. So I'm seeing this as a nice interplay between two important personal planets and Saturn. And just like Saturn is helping us with our new moon intentions, I feel like this is Saturn being a guiding energy towards the masculine and feminine aspects of self. Venus is also in a sextile with Uranus in Taurus, and I've highlighted that in green, and it's at about 7 o'clock in this chart. I then decided to also highlight Neptune and Pluto in green, because all three of these major outer planets have got their own little lovely interplay happening, and that's only going to get stronger as Uranus progresses further into Taurus and Pluto retrogrades back from Aquarius into Capricorn. This is a developing interplay. These are really the most powerful planets, and they're starting to work as a team. So I can easily see that as a divine influence that will start to make itself felt, and on a global scale, because that's how powerful these planets are. As I said, I've highlighted these planets in green. Pluto is at 11 o'clock, Neptune is at 9 o'clock, and Uranus is at 7 o'clock. Venus is also squaring Chiron in Aries, which I've marked in red. Chiron is about healing, so there may be something in our feminine energies that is activated in order for it to be healed. So that's a challenging aspect, but if you look at the bigger picture, healing is always a positive thing. That's my opinion. It's always a positive thing. So to me, that is still a positive aspect overall. In terms of the other things that are showing up here, the nodal axis is receiving support from both Jupiter in Gemini and Mercury in Leo. And those two planets are also in a sextile with each other. So this is another lovely interplay. These planets are at 7 o'clock on the chart and 5 o'clock on the chart. And I've highlighted them in yellow, the same as the nodal axis, so that you can see that this is another lovely interplay. Jupiter in Gemini will mean lots of ideas because Gemini is a mutable air sign, and Mercury in Leo is going to mean our thoughts are bold and determined because that is a fixed fire sign. Mercury is also in opposition to Pluto, and it's actually moved beyond that being a direct opposition, but it's still a bit of a challenging aspect. But having said that, it's still an easy one because the outcome's very predictable. The winner is obviously going to be Pluto. It's sort of like an arm wrestling contest between your 12-year-old child and your 5-year-old child. There's no contest because one is so much more powerful. So in this dynamic, Pluto would just have hit Mercury with some transforming energy, and Mercury would just have had to take it. And well, the effect of that transformation is now supporting the nodal axis. So even though an opposition seems like a bad thing, I feel like the impact of that is actually good. Now, are you seeing what I'm seeing? It's almost like all those blue highlighted aspects that were supposed to be negative are all ultimately having a positive impact on us as well. So in my opinion, this is a pretty awesome chart. When I first started looking at it, I was thinking, how on earth am I going to present all of this information because there's so much going on? But I think Spirit got me through it, and we got there, and it was by highlighting all of these lovely planetary interplays, which are actually beautiful to look at. And so that's the end of the astrology section. It didn't actually take me as long as I thought it was going to take me, so that is a relief. But we'll move on to the tarot section next. Right, so here are the cards that showed up for this spread. If you're interested in the decks I've used, I will have them listed on a slide at the end of the video. At the bottom of the deck I had the High Priestess card, but it had the Ace of Cups behind it, and behind that was the World card. I decided to take them all. The High Priestess energy is ruled by the Moon, which is the planetary ruler of Cancer and the 4th house in astrology. So it's pretty cool she's here for the Cancer new moon. The High Priestess is obviously someone who is spiritually connected, intuitive, and psychic. She is someone who can see beyond the veil and has access to the wisdom from the spiritual realm. The Ace of Cups is about someone's cup being filled to overflowing, so it's about a lot of joy and love entering a person's life. And it's interesting to see the lotus imagery for this card because the lotus is a symbol of transcendence and enlightenment, and that's why a lot of Hindu and Asian deities are often shown sitting or standing on a lotus. The center of the lotus is seen as the point of pure enlightenment. The World card is the last card in the major arcana. As it's the last card, it represents the end of the Fool's journey. The Fool has experienced all the highs and lows of life and completes his journey a mature and enlightened person. So he's really not a fool anymore. The World card is ruled by Saturn, which is the planetary ruler of Capricorn and the 10th house. And it's also the ancient ruler, Saturn is also the ancient ruler of Aquarius, which would link it to the 11th house of astrology as well. All in all, it would appear that this is going to be a blissfully positive time for this High Priestess. In terms of the houses that have come up, the 4th house relates to home and family, the 10th house relates to career and vocation, and the 11th house relates to communities, technology, and issues affecting the collective, so they might be societal, humanitarian, or environmental issues. And interestingly, the 4th and 10th houses are actually across from each other in the astrological wheel, and they're said to represent sort of maternal type energies and paternal type energies, so Cancer being the maternal side and Capricorn being the paternal side. And the other thing to say about the World card is it always has almost always has the 4 fixed signs shown on it. So they would be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, and they are present on this card. I always see the fixed signs as equivalent of the king cards in each suit. So to me, they represent maturity in every suit or with every aspect of self. With everything I've said so far, there is a lot of mature energy at the bottom of the deck, a lot of balance and a lot of stability. And I love the image that they've used in this World card. It's a ballerina's feet, and a ballerina is someone who, through experience, is able to maintain a state of grace and balance at all times, even when she's standing on the tips of her toes. And we have Capricorn and Cancer represented. And these are the two cardinal signs that are related to the feminine polarity. And they obviously are across from each other on the zodiac wheel, which is why we have Cancer and Capricorn, the new moon and full moon association. And the Ace of Cups is to me a cardinal energy in the suit of cups, and so that relates to the element of water. So I would also consider the Ace of Cups to be a Cancerian energy as well. So this is a reading for the full moon, the Cancer new moon, and Cancerian energy is represented here strongly. And Capricorn energy, as I said, is here as well. And that's interesting because this Cancer new moon is sandwiched between two Capricorn full moons. Now I'll just go over to the other tarot cards, and wow, we have two more major arcana cards and then another ace card. So in total, for this spread of, 6 cards we've got here, 4 of them are major arcana cards and the other 2 are aces. So there's a lot of big energy flying around here. The first tarot card is Justice, which is related to the zodiac sign of Libra. This is about balance and fairness and getting what you deserve. And it can also relate, because Libra relates to the 7th house, it can also relate to matters of the law or contracts that have been made or will be made. So Libra is now the 3rd cardinal sign that has come up so far, and it relates to the element of air. As an air sign, it's considered a masculine sign, but it's interesting because Libra is actually ruled by Venus, which is the planet we associate with the divine feminine energy. The second tarot card here is Temperance, which is related to the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a mutable fire energy, so that is actually the 4th element represented, because we've had water, we've had earth, and we've had air, and now we've got fire. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and it's related to the 9th house, which is associated with travel, exploration, expansion, and wisdom. The Temperance card is actually about balance and moderation and patience, and I always see it myself as a very self-honoring energy, where a person is making good choices for themselves. They look after their health and well-being, and that's both physically and emotionally. And the last tarot card here is the Ace of Pentacles, which is about a new opportunity or windfall in the material world. So this is a card that represents cardinal earth energy, so Capricorn energy again. And I'm just finding it really amazing that we've had pretty much all the boxes ticked here. We've had masculine and feminine polarities. We've had cardinal fixed and mutable modalities. And we've had all 4 elements, air, fire, earth, and water. And they've all been mentioned in this reading just as I've gone through the tarot cards. And the other thing that's showing up for me is the word balance, because it's come up in relation to 3 of these major arcana cards. We talked about balance in the World card, and then we talked about balance in the Justice card, and then we talked about balance in the Temperance card. So with all of that, this person is incredibly balanced in their energies. And this reading is saying everything's going to work out for them because it's what they deserve. And it's because they've demonstrated so much self-love and self-respect. So I'm really getting a sense of as within, so without for this person. They've worked really hard to become a balanced person. They've loved themselves and nurtured themselves, and they've become wiser and more spiritual. And they've always operated in integrity. And now the universe is showering them with love and abundance, because that is a true reflection of their inner state. And we have an oracle card here, Rainbow Blessings, which actually says that blessings are showering your life. The second oracle card is Odyssey, with the keywords quest, offer, treasure, and celebrate. The word Odyssey is about a long and arduous journey that was full of challenges. And really, the Fool's journey through the major arcana is the Fool's Odyssey, because it's also long and arduous and full of challenges. And the World card was at the bottom of the deck, which means this person has completed the Fool's journey. And that's why they have this incredible evolved energy now. There is treasure showing up for them now. It's on offer with the Ace of Pentacles being here, and they only need to claim it as theirs. This card, the Odyssey card, is a number 8 card, which is also a number I associate with Many of the energies that are here in this reading, it's associated with justice, karma, reaping what you sow, abundance, prosperity, and obviously it relates to the infinity symbol because of its shape. And the next card actually has the infinity symbol shown on it. And so the infinity symbol to me is a symbol of infinite flow. So if you're putting energy out and it's, looping back and coming right back to you, that's infinite flow because, you're never going to be energetically drained because what you give out comes right back to fill you up again. And so I'll just talk about that last oracle card now. It's titled Wood Pig, and the message on this card is moving up the vortex. So to me, the vortex there looks like a spiral, and it's actually giving me the same symbolic meaning as the lotus. So I would see enlightenment as being at the center of this spiral. So moving up the vortex is actually just moving closer to this center of enlightenment. And the card also has all these beautiful flowers on it that are in bloom, and to me that's another symbol of abundance in life. Now, this is a Chinese astrology deck, and so the wood pig would have a certain year associated with it. And usually these years are sort of like 60 years apart, basically, because there's 5 elements and there's 12 signs, 12 animal signs that they use. So for the wood pig, I went and looked this up, but you'd have to have been born between February 1935 and January 1936, or between January 95 and February 1996. So yeah, like I said, a big 60-year gap there. So I'm not sure if that's necessarily relevant, but I just thought I would talk about that. I also decided to look up the traits associated with wood pigs, and it actually came out sounding very Cancerian because wood pigs are said to be naturally empathic and compassionate, and they connect deeply with those around them. And it said they were generous and big-hearted, and always willing to help and support family, friends, and others in the community. So it was a very Cancerian energy, even though it's Chinese astrology. And so, yeah, I think that's all I have to say for the tarot reading. It's just been very lovely, the astrology and the tarot. I've sort of read this like it's an individual reading, though. Now, I think that's because I, only ever saw individual characters. But this is a new moon reading for the collective. So I would say that this particular new moon is going to be very good for the people who are spiritual and who have done their inner work and who are doing a great job of taking care of themselves. And I say that because of the High Priestess and the World being at the bottom of the deck, but also because Temperance is the energy, because I tend to see those 3 cards as past, present, future to a degree, and Temperance is in that present spot. So this person is actively taking good care of themselves. And so for someone who's done all that inner work and all that spiritual evolution and is now in a good place where they're really looking after themselves, I feel like the universe is just presenting them with the external confirmation that everything they're doing is right. And the Justice card would support that because that would say that this person is getting what they deserve. Now, in terms of other people in the collective, based on the astrology, there's still a lot of good energy here at this time, but I'm not sure they will necessarily be seeing rainbow blessings and the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles. So this sounds like it's for the more spiritual people. Now, if you're here watching this, because this is an astrology and tarot video, you might actually be someone who's on the spiritual path and fairly further along. So maybe the spread is for the people who are watching this and finding that it is resonating for them. I guess with it being a new moon, it's manifestation. It's a time for manifestation. So focus on all the blessings that you would like to have in your life. And set intentions that relate to those blessings. And of course, be open to receiving them. In fact, expect them to come just because of the energies we've had with the astrology and the tarot. Expect these blessings to actually show up for you. I think the universe really just wants to deliver. So, ask for what you want and welcome it in when it shows up. And obviously be grateful when it shows up. The energies here, I should also say, are very reminiscent of a reading I did in my last Pick a Pile reading, and that was the video I uploaded just before this one. And the reading I'm talking about was the Pile 2 reading, and it was actually titled Inner Worlds. You can watch that one if you're interested, because it seems interesting to me that I have this reading and that reading very, very similar. So maybe there, for people who are resonating with this, maybe there is some extra message or guidance there that's for you. And that's it for the tarot section of this video. Okay, so this is the spot where I normally try and find a quote or something that will tie up the reading nicely. I actually found this poem online and it is perfect. I'm just going to read it out to you. Vibrate so high and radiate from so deep, from so much within your heart, from your essence, from your soul, so that no one can come close to you without destiny's blessing in their hands. And this was attributed to butterflies rising. Isn't that just lovely? Okay, as promised, we now have the decks that were used for this reading. The tarot deck is called the Ehrenberg Tarot, and the oracle decks were Sacred Traveler oracle cards, Oracle of Delphi, and the Chinese 5 Elements oracle cards. The crystal I've used here in this spread is obviously clear quartz. Finally, I'd just like to thank you for taking the time to watch this. If you enjoyed watching the video, please show your support by liking the video, making a comment, or sharing the video, or by subscribing to the channel if you'd like to see more of my work in the future. If you would like to support me on Facebook, this is what my Facebook page looks like. And that's it. I hope to see you all in a future video. Bye.